We believe that?
That's what I was literally just typing in the chat, believe it or not.
We were doing a food show this morning. It seems like a Michelle this morning. Want to tell people about Michelle?
The Michelle food show. Mm-hmm. If you know, you know.
Maybe we should come out with another T-shirt for the food show.
The Michelle food show?
Yes.
It's good.
It's got a place somewhere. Oh, man. Nice to be home. It's interesting. I felt surreal seeing my high school friends again at the market basket.
You're. I thought you meant friends from when you were in high school. You mean friends who are in high school currently.
And they, one is the one of the sisters, I think, was bagging today. First of all, this other girl, Chrissy or whatever her name is, I saw her coming. I was watching her, which is great, and I knew that she was going to open Register 3. Like Clockwork, Register 3 opens. I'm first in line. Absolutely.
Got to be ready for that in the market basket.
The two girls were jumping around saying how cold it was, and one of them said, "Get your heater and grab." They have heaters underneath the thing, and pulled it up there
near the doors,
and
so
Alice,
it gets chilly. I assume.
Yes, and Alice, I literally was trying to think of a funny heater thing, so I could join the plastics. Be one of them.
Yeah,
but I couldn't think of it.
Sorry about that. Well, you'll be working there soon, so.
Happily.
Then you'll be in on all the humor.
All the heater bits I can do. Oh, can you imagine the funny old guy I'd be? Oh, they'd love it. I'd have him rolling in the aisles. Oh, and I could be Mr. Funny Guy with the customers too. Mm-hmm. We used to meet. If you guys lived here on Beacon Hill around the early 2000s, my brother and I lived in Beacon Hill, and this guy, they hired this artist to work at 7-Eleven. And if you know who this guy was, and he thought himself, and he was probably at that point, he was probably in his late 40s, early 50s, and he thought he was a genius who just happened to be doing the 7-Eleven job at the moment. So he'd comment on all the stuff he bought and really think that he was a raconteur. What is a raconteur?
A teller of stories.
Okay, that fits then. He thought he was so brilliant. So you'd have like chewing gum, and he said, "Oh, for one's gum chewing habits, one dentine," and like everything had a little story, a little bit to it. Mm-hmm. I fucking hated him. Well, looks like we're having some ragu old world marinara sauce tonight. Alla pasta la bruise. Like, oh, it's freaking. And I know that everybody else on Beacon Hill wanted him dead too. Oh, it was awful. The only good thing
Sorry to everyone on Beacon Hill for having to go through that at the time.
Oh, he was the worst. You guys will remember that. The best thing about Beacon Hill at that time was that the Venice pizza, they had they would have breakfast stuff and dinner stuff, like what's it called, arancini. Mm-hmm. And when it got old, they'd give it to us in bulk. Oh, because we were a bunch of dudes like living there, and so we'd eat anything. It's just living. That was living. Then she came into my life. Took
everything away from you.
Yep.
Ruined everything.
You think my cashiers now can spin yarns and poetry about my products? No. Mm-hmm. Now I'm hearing about their heaters.
The disagreement we just had about Christmas Eve popcorn night that's now infringing on your style.
Alice.
Our son wanted to, on Christmas Eve, watch a family Christmas movie and have popcorn and hot chocolate.
I know, and our son can do that. But you've now extended the invitation to other people.
I invited my sister.
I know. I like your sister.
Well, your brother was already going to be here.
I understand that. But that means now, Alice, that the amount of cleaning now is going to have to be first floor completely and second floor completely. And second floor line of sight. So what you have done, and this, you know how this is going to work. And by the way, I love hanging out with them, and they're very fun. I'm just thinking about logistics and things we have to do tomorrow, and the amount of time that we don't have already. Okay. And there's also a Christmas Day meal that we're supposed to be making.
I know.
So this is the problem: is that all the wrong forces. This is what's going to happen. We're going to tomorrow night be with your sisters and Mike, who, by the way, is the comedian that you guys have invited in here. And they're super fun, and I can corrupt them and ply them both with drinks, and they're going to do it.
No, You
What?
can't ply my sister with
that's
drinks.
right. This. Ooh. That means that Mike has a designated driver, which means he's especially susceptible. And we will obviously try to bully him, pressure him into enjoying a few cocktails. And then they'll decide late night. Not early day. They'll decide late night. You know what? Might as well just continue the party over at our house, and we won't.
Well, now they're going to feel uncomfortable deciding to stay over because they're going to listen to this.
No, it has nothing to do with them. It has to do with you. You need to be prepared. Then
I'm prepared.
Okay, you're prepared.
I talked to the kids about it. I did a lot of work in the lead up to our trip to Connecticut in the few days before that. Cleaning things, doing laundry, getting set up. There is a lot of groundwork that's been laid that you don't even see.
I'm a very fun guy, Alice. Don't minimize the attraction of hanging out with me. People are going to want to hang out with me, especially as the evening gets later.
Okay. To my sister and her lovely husband listening to this, you are obviously welcome to come over
of course.
here. For
of course, we're
dream Christmas Eve. This was the deal I made with him because he didn't want to give up. It's been the tradition that the Yankee swap on Christmas Eve happens at our house every Christmas Eve. And
Except when that was your mother's house.
But he likes it to be here.
Yes, well.
He does not like change. He did not like their tradition changing to a different house this year. So he said, well, can we at least...
Little Lord Never Cleaneroy has never had to do the stuff that makes it possible.
He's going to.
He is?
Yes. He wants to have. He's been working hard too. He's helped a lot. And
can we just?
By the way,
can we just rent an Airbnb for tomorrow?
He wants there to be a family movie night with fun popcorn and hot chocolate to watch a family movie together on Christmas Eve. I'm sorry that you won't be able to pig out by yourself at 11 o'clock watching Menners Live because the kids will have commandeered the TV set.
There's always a way. I've eaten in the car before. But isn't it, I love this, that like, just like
I know wholesome fun bothers you.
He wants to. We'll see how wholesome you are tomorrow at 11:30 at night. Okay, just like you were at the Wolfpack game. There was plenty of wholesome going around there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to be wholesome every single night of your life. Well, but like on Christmas Eve, while we have young children, maybe is the time to embrace the wholesome every once in a while. I'm sorry that it's not as fun for you for one night out of the year.
Embracing the wholesome, Alice, it follows hours of scrubbing, vacuuming, cleaning. We already, believe me, I like these people very much. These are I almost consider them family. But I'm glad that the kids are into having the popcorn night. Yeah, we really love the popcorn night. It's funny. They also really love the dog over there. And if it wasn't for me, the dog would never eat or get a drop of water. But they love the dog.
Not true.
Yeah. Okay. Now they have to come. Now you just can't leave, Jane. All right. Which I'm all for, by the way. Would you say, Alice, that for an old person, I have a proclivity to enjoy parties?
You do. You do like partying, yeah.
I am a shallow person. There's not much to me, but I do enjoy a party, a gathering. I do strong-arm people to stay. I bully people in an awkwardly uncomfortable fashion sometimes, but you got to do that if you want to get them to do what you want them to do.
Oh, and it works, especially on young people who aren't used to you. That's why I've worked on meet and all my friends. They'd be like, I guess he wants me to stay. And it's 1:30 in the morning. I'm like, why aren't my friends going home? And Tom's like, stay, guys, come on. Meanwhile, he goes to bed.
Yeah, at some point, I do this switcheroo. I'm done.
And then I'm stuck entertaining his friends. The best is when you tell the neighbor to come over.
Yeah.
Oh, Popeye, we're going to be hanging out having beer. And I'm alone with the kids, putting them to bed. And our neighbor shows up, ready to party. You're already gone.
Bad luck. Bad luck. It's the rap sheet on me. It's true. It's true. I'm a deadbeat drunk. I'm not. I'll bail on people. The Irish goodbye, right? Mm-hmm. So, all right. So let's get going here, Alice, and talk about some stuff. First of all, I just want to say about about these clemency orders and all this pardoning that Biden's
the commuting of all the sentences.
Because they're just keeping 3 white guys now in federal death row. They've completely emptied out federal death row, except for 3 white guys.
Yeah, and so it's funny because the Pope had been pressuring Biden to do this.
A-hole, by the way. I think we can agree.
Yeah, and like Biden's obviously never listened to the Pope on abortion, like for
Devout
1
Catholic.
second.
He's a devout Catholic.
Yeah, but whatever. So the Pope had been pressuring Biden to do this, and Biden looked at it and he wrote this big long pronouncement about how he really believes in the principle that, there should never be a death sentence and the death penalty should really be gone. And it's like a terrible thing and an injustice. And, that people have written that there's like a racial component to this because Black people are overrepresented on death row. I think they're like less than half the death row inmates were white. Well, now 100% of the death row inmates are white.
Exactly.
But,
which is precisely,
so they've solved the racial injustice. They fixed that.
Well, actually,
that's good.
You laughed when you said it, but that's exactly how they feel.
Yeah, they fixed the racial injustice.
Biden started the statement out saying that he couldn't morally be behind the death penalty, and he isn't, except for the few.
Yeah, and obviously the three are the three most famous ones probably, which are Joe Tsarnaev, obviously the Boston Marathon bomber, the Tree of Life synagogue shooter, whose name is escaping me, but and the Dylan Roof, the Charleston church shooter.
All people who should be dead, by the way.
Yeah, they totally should be. I think the second the Charleston church shooting happened, I said he should be dead. Joe Tsarnaev should be dead. Like, we shouldn't even. Why is it taking so long? Like, that's the ridiculous part of that.
Here's
obviously.
one from Libs and TikTok. Thomas Roberts kidnapped a young girl and her mother. He murdered the mother in front of her, then shot 12-year-old Lexus before slitting her throat and dumping her body. Biden just commuted a death sentence. This guy is fucked up. This
and to be clear, these are people who are staying in prison. They're not getting out. He's just commuting the death sentence. But it's either a principle or it's not. The only reason the principle didn't apply for those ones is because they're the famous ones that would upset people on his team.
Right. But this is
So he doesn't want to deal with the headline Boston Marathon bomber Biden commuted his death sentence. He doesn't want that headline. But this guy's not well known. People haven't heard of that. No one's going to hear of it. Biden commuted the sentence of the Tree of Life synagogue shooter. That's a bad headline for Biden.
But these commutations are terrible. These are terrible.
They're awful.
This is awful. He is rewarding these grisly monsters. And I've even seen
for total political
Democrats
reasons.
do not like this. They do not like that he's doing this.
The Innocence Project tweeted out,
this is indefensible.
Thank God he saved the innocent people on death row. Like, who exactly?
By the way, let me just tell you something. Tsarnaev is getting out. He will be a free man in the next few decades. There's no doubt about that. As long as progressivism continues.
But some do-gooder is going to be like, oh, he was a teenager. He was led astray by his brother, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but you're telling me, yeah, exactly. That mixed with the idea that a lot of those people who were affected in the marathon bombing were Brian Thompson's. You know, you can overlay Brian Thompson to a lot of those people. Sure, there were some innocents like Martin Richard, but a lot of the other people, Brian Thompson's.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you can do it with if you can unhuman one person, then you can find a way to unhuman.
Oh, yeah. Once terrorism's okay, it's just okay. So, and that's why for Biden to leave 3 death row inmates because it was politically not expedient, it completely undermines any moral case he could possibly have made to say that he's just against the death penalty.
Right.
Which makes it so embarrassing and terrible. It makes it 100 times worse than if he just said, the Pope said it, I'm going to commute all the death sentences, the end, and deal with the bad headlines.
Absolutely.
In a sense, like, that almost makes more sense. That would remind me, like, of the embarrassment and shame of, like, the Afghanistan thing.
Yep.
Where it's like, he's a stubborn a-hole. That's, like, traditional Joe Biden. Stubborn a-hole. Does the wrong thing and sticks to doing the wrong thing because he's a stubborn a-hole and that's just what he's going to do.
Right.
But this is being a cowardly, stubborn a-hole.
Yeah, no.
This is, with Afghanistan, he made the wrong decision. He was wrong about it. He wouldn't admit he was wrong. He said it was an awesome decision, and he stuck by it. And, so fine. So you can knock him for making, like, the worst foreign policy decision in our lifetimes, but you Can't knock him for like not being consistent or not sticking to his guns on that one, because he sure did.
Well, he sure did. You're right.
He thought we should be out of there. He got us out of there at great cost of American life, equipment, at the liberty of the Afghan people, of everything. Like, he sacrificed everything to his feeling that we should do X. Which
Absolutely.
is fine.
And put on a show for the world that empowered the Russians to go into Ukraine.
Right. So, but this is like more insane than that, because it's commuting all this. I'm going to make this bad decision of commuting the sentences of murderers who absolutely do not deserve this. This is not, there are extremely few cases in which there's any doubt in death penalty cases about who did the thing.
Oh, totally.
I
And
understand
somebody
the
around him has convinced him that this is positive legacy building. And the dumb he's married to is just saying, yeah, Joe, it'll put you in the history books. And they're doing this. And I'm not sure who exactly, Susan Rice. I mean, I don't even know. But
And it's specifically designed to be a movie. He had already stopped all these executions from being carried out. And this is him saying, that I don't want Donald Trump to be able to go back to executing people once I'm out of office.
right.
And I think it shows, too, that I think there are more commutations and pardons coming, including, I think, ultimately probably for himself.
Yeah,
and
certainly
other
for his
people around
brothers.
him.
Certainly for his brothers. That's not without a doubt. But yes, probably for himself. But I actually heard the Democrat in the 5, I forgot which one, say essentially this was like absurd and twisted, this what he's doing now. And that, like, people are, this is, talk about a guy who's blowing up the Democratic Party.
Well, yeah, and this gets down to also like this freaking like love of crime for some reason. Really is at the root of what has hurt the Democratic Party in the last few elections. And it's like, when you look at what's going on in the cities, obviously there was this terrible, we touched on it briefly, the person set on fire in the subway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this stuff that touches on the immigration stuff too, but the like lack of enforcement of anything, of Kathy Hochul going out here and saying how safe and wonderful the subways are, and Democrats see it and they don't want any adult to come in the room and make actual policy decisions, but they don't like what they're seeing. And it's the direct result of this kind of attitude about crime, that crime is just something that happens and you can't do anything about it. There was this tweet that was out here today. This woman, Mindy, who lives in Philadelphia, I guess, she had tweeted, the situation at Suburban Station is really, really bad. I don't know exactly what the solution is. I understand you can't and shouldn't force homeless people into shelters, but it's unfair to SEPTA workers and riders that the city essentially outsources homeless services to them. Like, I beg to differ. Actually, you can force people into treatment in shelters. Like, and you need to. The cops do literally nothing. I'm talking about the SEPTA police and the Philly police. Today, a Philly cop rode by on his bike, saw a group of people smoking cigarettes and weed inside and didn't even ask them to stop. I don't understand what we pay them for. Like, why should the police ask them to stop? You've said that you don't want any enforcement on anybody unless they're, like, literally stabbing someone to death in front of you, and probably not even then, really. She writes, my husband works in the Suburban Station and he and his coworkers are terrorized by a very mentally ill guy every single day. They feel bad for him and he literally spits in their faces and they can't climb ladders alone because he'll push them off. They follow all the protocols and report him everywhere and he gets escorted out and then he just comes back. Genuinely not sure what the solution is, and I know it's so cold out and I feel so horrible for everyone, but it's not fair to the workers, riders, or the homeless. Like, you're so close. But at some point, if you offer the person mental health treatment and shelter services, and by the way, we do. Jordan Neely, for example, was in contact with these services all the time. They all knew about him. If you offer somebody the services, if you know that they need them and you offer the person the services and they don't want them, they want to go out and terrorize people instead, at some point you have to make them.
Of course.
You have to go put them in a psych ward.
Do you see what I just showed you? I just sent us? Is that true that the woman was not a homeless woman, but was this beautiful woman? That's...
I have no idea. I know it was somebody who was asleep
right
on the train. I have no idea who that is, that person, or if they're true. But No, I mean, a shocking, astonishing story, shocking video. Don't watch it if you have an aversion to snuff films. But I mean, just horrific violence. And I understand, there's these like wonky people out there tweeting like crime's not actually that high in New York City, blah, 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 blah. Like Nate Silver was tweeting that. I get it. But like this high profile stuff is so avoidable. There has to be a way to keep mentally disturbed illegal aliens from setting people on fire in the subways.
Right. And then he took
you can't do that.
And then he took a seat and just watched her burn.
Right. And everybody around did too, apparently. But what's incredible about it too is it's really interesting. Like one of the biggest policy prescriptions that I find most interesting on this stuff, particularly for the subway issue, is if you cracked down on fare evasion, you would solve a lot of problems.
Oh, totally.
Because have you ever heard that thing about like how Costco, the point of the paying for the Costco membership isn't really the paying for the Costco membership. It's like keeping people out.
Right.
Right, like part of the reason Costco works so well is that there's like an entry fee. And anytime you're somewhere where there's an entry fee, people are better behaved because it keeps out, I mean, for one thing, it keeps out criminally insane and homeless people, generally speaking. Like there's not that many of them in Costco, but it just generally like if you don't allow fare evasion, you cut way back on the problem. And like, I mean, you could do it now. You could have turnstiles that are hard to jump. You know what I mean? You could have like the tall ones that are like a rotating door that you go through and things like that. I mean, like there's nonviolent ways to even do it. But fundamentally, you need to have the police enforcing things that the police are required to enforce, not because those things in and of themselves are the problem.
I don't want to be grisly here, but I just saw part of the video again. Mm-hmm. Cops were like walking by her as she's shuffling around.
Yeah, no.
And totally
There's literally, yeah. I mean, like, is that such a normal thing that you see every day that you're just walking by the person?
A bystander then tries to fan the flames off of her.
Right.
Well, people, like, she's not dead yet, by the way.
Ugh.
Oh, what a freaking
It's a horrific video.
Can I, what do you want to get to next? Because I have something I want to get to.
Well, I want to talk about how the Democratic quest for a so-called bro whisperer continues. Mm-hmm. Their answer to Joe Rogan. So the New York Times did a big piece about this guy. This is their next big hope that they're pinning everything on in order to win back men. His name is Dean Withers. The New York Times has a big piece about him called, "Could this 20-year-old be one of the Democrats' bro whisperers?" Dean Withers argues online with right-wing stars like Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro. His goal? To reach their young male followers.
Ooh, here we go.
So this dude looks about 14 years old, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
And they write this whole thing about him. People approach him to debate issues like abortion, inflation, and whether or not Trump's policies would benefit the middle class. The company Jubilee did one of those. Remember we watched that thing with like Ben Shapiro debates? Yes. He did one of those with like, he can debate like 20 Trump supporters or whatever. Mm-hmm. He did one of those. Woke teen Dean Withers. He's a liberal content creator who lives in Colorado. He's been debating politics online, etc. But it's just funny. Play the little video I sent
him.
I see it. Do you have it? Because
Donald Trump will be the president of America in 74 days. I want this video to serve as a message to the 72 million American citizens that voted for him because you deserve to know the harm that you've caused. Kamala Harris will not be the next president, and this means that Roe v. Wade will not be restored. Because there's no federal protections for abortion, there's 22,000 SA victims that are denied access to abortion in states with total bans every year. That is 60 women per day. And because you decided to vote for Trump, who firmly stands against any and all federal protections for access to abortion, those 60 women's pain, suffering, and trauma is on your hands every 24 hours like clockwork.
It seems like he's going to win over the bros, doesn't he?
There's a problem here. One, he looks like Peter Billingsley from A Christmas Story. 2, he's reading. 3, he's whatever. Good luck.
But like, how could the New York Times, supposedly serious journalists and stuff, How could they interview this kid and think like, yeah, this is going to solve the Democrats' problem?
Because they look at elections
He has
and
a
they
million
look at
TikTok
what
followers. He
they've
must be
done,
great.
and their conclusion is never, oh, the problem is me. Their conclusion is never, oh, the problem is our ideas. The conclusion is never, oh, I see, it's now normal for a woman to burn alive in the subway, and people just walk by because it's the subway in New York. What do you expect? It's never that. And it's never that, oh, it was our policies that caused this reimagined place.
No, never that.
Never. So it's got to be that, oh, they have bros on the other side. Ben Shapiro talks quick like a little chipmunk and is intellectual. We got to do that. Why don't we get an alpha guy who's
We'll
like
find our own
Rogan?
chipmunk.
Exactly. We got our own. See? He talks like Shapiro. He's saying smart stuff like that. Ha-ha. It's like it's always the search for. And by the way, if you're going to have Ben Shapiro, if you want your own Ben Shapiro or your own Rogan, you're going to have to find an individual who's original like they are.
Right.
And Rogan's in original guy because he organically learns things.
Right.
He
Rogan put in a lot of years.
Exactly.
Not doing politics.
Rogan is a guy without priors. That's
Right.
it. Just a guy who was studying, the body and medicines and physical stuff and martial arts and just getting into just asking questions. That's it. He's not an ideologue. He still isn't. Nobody knows what Rogan is now.
Right. But
he's not. You know why he's not an ideologue? Because he hangs out with people who aren't pseudo intellectuals.
Right.
He hangs out with comedians who go up there and either get murdered on stage or murder on stage. And he hangs out with UFC guys, which is, talk about the proof of the pudding being in the eating.
Right.
And it's like, even though they're always high and drunk, it's like the most sober group of people, in a way.
Well, right. And like you say, it's a group of people who, like, only the result matters. Right?
Yes,
you can't fake it.
Exactly.
You can't, like, make a fake UFC fighter because
Right.
He'll just lose. Like, it doesn't work like that. And the left thinks that they can, do it like a manufactured boy band, that if they just find a bunch of good singers and put them together and, like, put enough marketing behind it, that they can, like, recreate the same thing, but they can't. You can't do a manufactured boy band that's the Beatles at the end of the day because you can't copy it because it just happened. And I mean, it underlines the problem with trying to create your own anything. Like, look at the problem liberals are having trying to create their own Twitter on every platform they do. It turns into an insane asylum immediately. Like, they just can't do it. You can't create your own Elon Musk. You can't do that. And, like, vice versa. Republicans have enormous problems trying to, quote, create their own Hollywood. I applaud everyone who tries to do it, but it's very, very difficult to recreate Hollywood if you're not Hollywood.
No doubt.
It's hard to create your own music industry.
And by the way, Republicans shouldn't try to recreate Hollywood. Their way is, what is a woman? That's their way.
Right.
Because that's the best possible product. It is a comedy, regardless of it being a documentary. And like the Republicans don't try to do. I mean, I don't even know. Don't try to do your own Republican version of a Marvel movie. People, it's not. People won't accept it. It'll come off as false. It's like how religious rock was. I forgot what they call it now. But
like
in
Christian contemporary,
in the 70s and the 80s, and like there used to be like Nirvana ripoffs doing it. And he died for us on the cross. And it's like, hey, it's not it just doesn't work, So like, don't just do your own thing. Do your own thing.
Right.
Can I introduce some good news?
Yes, I'd like to hear your.
We are going to, since he's probably going to offer us a job, we're going to spend a moment celebrating one of the greatest Americans ever. A gentleman named David Tchaikovsky Portnoy. Portnoy does this pizza review. This is so Portnoy. This guy never misses an opportunity. Never misses an opportunity. And this comes from the same place where, like, the same kind of almost genius that Rogan has, where this is street smart stuff. This is in Baltimore.
For the snowstorm, Presidente.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, he said watch out for... No, I didn't know what the hell you were talking about. Tiny...
What's happening is this guy who owns this pizza shop, Dave just spent a few minutes in there, and when that snow that you just heard, the guy actually has a snow machine over the awning to add for color and interest in the pizza shop. This guy runs this brick oven, tiny brick oven in Baltimore.
Brick oven. That looks good. We have this whole backstory. I didn't let him remake it because we're leaving the city. We're parked illegally.
Wow, the pleasure is all mine.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
All right, we're picking up a pie. It's under Austin.
This is unbelievable. Yes, sir. I got to make you another one, man.
I don't have time.
You don't have time?
I'm sorry.
All right, okay. Oh my God, man, this is incredible.
Looks great, though.
This is so wild, man. Can I get a selfie with you?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my gosh, man, you're like my hero, bro. Like when all these businesses were shutting down and you were like doing all those grants and everything, and like I was like, man, this guy is the real deal, man.
I appreciate that.
Gosh darn, man.
I'm glad we hit this spot.
I'm glad you hit it too. I didn't even know you were in Baltimore,
Yeah,
man.
we just got in for the day.
Welcome to Charm City, man.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah. That's so cool.
He talks like a Barstool fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. This is, you know, one of my customers here, she's been tagging me because we're getting ready to close. And she was like, oh, like,
What do you mean you're getting ready to close?
we're getting ready to close, man. We can't get our liquor license here. It's been like crazy.
Closed forever?
Yeah, forever. And she was like, oh, like Stool Presidente can help you. He's like from my hometown. I'm gonna tag him. He's gonna show up. I
When
was
are you
like,
closing?
well, we're just not making any money, man. It's been crazy. The thing is, our politicians gave this market down here their liquor license, but they won't give us ours. It's been crazy, man. It's been totally crazy. But when you walked in, I immediately thought of her, man. I was completely blown away. Like I thought, like maybe she was right. Maybe
That was Dave Portnoy complaining for a second that this guy is touching up the pizza because he wants it to be awesome. Dave's trying to get out of there, but he's interested by the story.
you, and you were like,
No, she didn't tag me.
that's so wild.
Well, I hope this pizza's great now.
I mean,
So what happens if this pizza's great and you start getting busy making money? Do you stay open or no?
I think we'll have to stay open.
We're gonna have to keep this place open. Is it good?
This is so great. Only the best. Only the best for you, my friend. If we can get you anything else, you know.
No, I'm just here for the pizza.
Of course. We know how you do, man. This is so amazing. I've seen like every review you've ever done, man.
I gotta pay for it.
Well, I don't know.
No, I'm paying for
All
it.
right,
You told
okay.
me you're making no money and I pay for it.
Okay, all right. It's up to you, man.
I'm hoping this pizza's great. Let me open this box.
We make the best, man. We make the best in Baltimore, no question. I mean, I'm excited that you're in this city, man. Baltimore is a very beautiful city. We've got a lot of cool people here. Oh my gosh, man.
What's your name?
I'm Will.
Will, nice to meet you,
man.
Will.
The pleasure is all mine, man. This is incredible, bro.
Oh, please be good. Good undercarriage. Okay. This is a reheat in very good. Thin New York kind of style. Like, I really like it. I'm not gonna lie and say it's better than French or anything like that. That's far away. There's no way this place should be going out of business. None. So, that guy was the most upbeat guy you're ever gonna have. Christmas spirit, Will. I'm gonna give this pizza. And here's the thing right here. Thank you for your purchase. Love all, serve all. He's a veteran. Voted best pizza in Baltimore. Every purchase supports a veteran. Closing December 25th unless you help us by clicking tinybrickoven.com/support. How much fun do you this motherfucker? Can I ask you something?
Yes, sir.
How much money do you need to stay open for like a year?
It's a really good question. I'm not sure.
Well, if there was somebody super rich right in front of your face who's in the pizza business, and by serendipity he's like, what do you need to stay open for a year? You got to give him some figure because then he's going to walk away.
I know it. Listen, I think we could probably get our liquor license and continue to stay open if we had 60,000. Would that be
Done?
Done?
Done.
Oh my God, that's unbelievable! Hey!
Yeah, what's going
What?
on? How do
Stool
I?
Presidente!
How do I get in touch with you? Just here?
Listen, You can contact me anywhere.
Is that your number?
Yeah, that's our number here at the shop. You can email me. I mean, I follow you on Instagram.
I'll text this number.
Absolutely, 100. Oh, that's actually that's our landline. Let me give you mine.
Give me your cell.
Yeah, come in.
This guy's screaming.
I mean, that's
You can
unbelievable.
just text me,
Oh my gosh, man, this is unbelievable.
or I'll send you a text right now.
Wow. I'm gonna cry, man. I'm gonna cry. Listen, you have no idea. The whole neighborhood is like so crazy wanting us to stay open. Like, we do the Pay It Forward program.
I saw that. I love that.
Yes, sir. That's it. I mean, we've fed the homeless so many times. We've done all these things, and like our politicians just turned their back on us. I was really disappointed.
Well, karma. Then this is good timing for us
I
to
mean,
come in.
such good
I'll text you.
timing.
I'm gonna figure out. That's the number. You'll have it before Christmas and keep you open for a year.
Oh my God! Wow.
Pizza was good too.
Thank you. What was the score?
7-9.
Hey,
A
7-9.
little bit of a like in that, and I didn't let you recook it either. It was sitting there, so it's
Yeah,
gone.
I
Really
appreciate
good.
you.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
You too. What's up, Dave? What's going on?
Hey, I love what you do, brother.
That cost me 60 dimes right there, but whatever. I'm a nice motherfucker.
And they're showing here that's the storefront so that people know to go there.
Right.
And obviously, this place is about to be effing deluged.
Right. Steve from Merrimack feels this is painful.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
He
I
says
love
the
it.
guy's going to abscond with the 60K.
Very possibly. I'm choosing
There's
to
so
believe.
many ways it could go awry. Tom's going to believe in Christmas magic, Steve.
You know what,
okay?
Steve? I suppose you don't want us to have the popcorn party tomorrow night either, as a matter of fact.
All you little Grinches out here just
Goodness.
grinching around.
I love it. I'll watch that crap all day. There's some stuff that I'll watch no matter what. You want the troops returning home and the dog going nuts? I'll do it all day. I don't care if the guy's been gone for 5 minutes and just walk back in. It's all for. I don't care. I'm all in. I choose to believe it. Should we do the chat?
Yes, let's head to the chat. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us in the chat. We've got Steve from Merrimack. We've got Splash is drunk in an airport heading to Curacao.
Ooh, where in the airport? I would like to know. I would like to know what you're drinking.
And
as
you
well.
want to join him?
Yeah, I think the most ripped
Julie and Phil are here. Everybody's having fun in the chat.
most ripped I got in an airport was only really twice. Was I flew out of Bradley one time? No, not Bradley. TF Green in Providence to get to Chicago one time, and this is before a Southwestern flight, so you know all the feral people are hanging out. Including me, and the bar became an absolute raucous scene, and it was great. We stumbled onto that plane, and I landed in Chicago. We continued on the plane. I landed in Chicago. My friends picked me up, and I passed out in the back of the car, and they didn't get to have me that night, unfortunately. Typical Shattuck. Okay. Here we go.
Hey, Tom and Alice, Merry Christmas to you both.
Hey, Steve.
Merry
Hopefully
Christmas.
It's a joyous and wonderful celebration, and you enjoy your time with family and friends and the children. I hope it's a great couple of days for you guys. Tom, for the Feast of the Seven Fishes,
Yes.
the main course is pasta with the lobster sauce.
Oh.
Then we're going with shrimp, clams,
Oh.
mussels, scallops,
All day.
calamari,
Oh.
and haddock.
All day.
So it should be a great day of eating.
Ooh.
Christmas Eve meal is the best of the year. And I think on Christmas Day, I'm going with lasagna and potentially some tripe. So should be a good couple of days. Anyway, in Italian, we say Buon Natale. Enjoy your time, and we'll talk soon.
Pasta with lobster sauce is, I'm sorry, with lobster pasta sauce. That's amazing, man. Yeah, Steve, I have a question for you, Steve. I want to know your feeling on the legitimacy of vodka sauce, which I find delicious, and my daughter, I've just gotten her into it. I find it to be like really, really good. I'd like to hear your feeling on that.
My favorite pasta sauce variety, we should say this for the food show, I guess, is Fra Diavolo.
Yeah, it's on sale at Market Basket, by the way.
I
This
like that one.
like Rione's or a different one. All right, Alice, you ready?
Ready.
In 1980, my junior high. Well, I was in 8th grade,
Mm-hmm.
and they took us to Washington, D.C. on that annual 8th grade trip.
Mm-hmm.
And we drove through New York City. And at the time, I think, John Lennon had been dead for a few months.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my Beatles story.
It's good. They should have included you in the documentary.
Yes, absolutely. But how abusive was your dad? Because we want to know more. Remember, if you're going to be a proper boomer, it has to be more about you than anybody else.
Stephen Merrimack says in the chat that Restaurante Melisse in Amesbury has the best vodka sauce.
Really? Restaurante Melisse. Do I know that? Amesbury. There's one with a big curtain. Is it that one? We don't know. We're big. Well, this is super. We're big into the, what's it called? Morning Buzz Cafe.
Yeah.
We do love that. Oh, we've had some good times there.
For Italian around here, well, I guess it's not really around here, but we're like a Ralphie's and Salem family.
Yeah, they're
the
tripe.
time.
Good tripe. Good tripe.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey, Steve.
And another thing about these boomers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I have 5 older brothers. The oldest one is 71.
Mm-hmm.
All boomers, every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And not one of them sucks. Not one. You figure out of 5 there'd be one that sucks. But not one of them sucks. Like Joe Queenan and Jack Douglas. Oh, you make me want to vomit. Okay, boomer.
Yeah, Jack Douglas. You mean the Yanks from Liverpool?
Yeah.
My
He
goodness.
was one of those guys?
Yeah.
Oh, the famous story?
Yeah, I'm John Lennon. I'd like to talk about you, Jack Douglas, for a while. Wow. We're on an equal plane now, Jack Douglas. You know what? You're an engineer. It's just a feeling you get. It's my antenna. Mm-hmm. Bullshit. Oh, yeah. We have some all-you-can-eat messages to play, by the way, when we do another one. Maybe tomorrow? No way. Tomorrow we're doing... we're way too busy. Oh, hold on. Let me see if this is right. Does this work right? Okay. Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, just a few comments on your baby boomer diatribe.
You're going to be in trouble for this.
Yeah, I know.
First off, Tom, if anybody fit into the portrayal of baby boomers that you and Alice gave, it certainly would be you.
What?
Your narcissism.
Our kids
rings
do call
true
him a
whether-
boomer.
Oh, darn, Alice.
Our kids do call you a boomer, though.
I know.
It's true.
They're clueless.
Portrayal of baby boomers that you and Alice gave, it certainly would be you.
Incorrect.
Your narcissism rings true, whether it's a Supple story, a Beacon Hill story, a this story, that. All your stories are about you.
Well, yeah, but those stories are about me. I'm not talking. The subject is not John Lennon, and this has to be with. I only talk about me and Beacon Hill with John Lennon on in the background. Those literally stories are about me because the only one who will tell stories about me is me. So I have to do it.
I don't hear you talk about other people a lot, so you may be a baby boomer
He
as
might
well.
be.
The other thing is,
Yes.
I got to believe that a large portion of your audience is
Yes.
baby boomers.
Mhm.
I would tend to think that you lean more towards the Howie crowd than the Joe Rogan crowd.
I don't know. That's a good question, actually. What crowd would we be in?
I don't know. Spotify has stats, but I don't know. The bulk of our listens are on Apple Podcast, I think. So
They all canceled as of last night, so it's over. But no,
we
I don't.
say
I don't,
truth to power.
I don't know. I mean, first of all, I'm a Howie guy, and I'm a
No,
Jerry
but I
guy.
think we have a lot of listeners
Yeah.
who are baby boomers.
Yes.
Trump's a baby
Obviously-
boomer.
Well, yes, and it obviously, it doesn't apply to everybody, but it applies to a certain kind of baby boomer, undoubtedly.
It's like all my friends' parents in Lexington.
Right. There you go. There you go.
I would tend to think that you lean more towards the Howie crowd than the Joe Rogan crowd. So just
Maybe.
a couple of things. I thought it was interesting. I enjoyed it. I enjoy everything you do.
Thank you.
But look in that mirror, Tom. Look in that mirror. Thanks, guys. Merry Christmas.
Thank
Happy
you.
New Year.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And as far as looking in the mirror goes, I believe that I am quite upfront and vocal about my own cravenness and my bottom feeding. I think that I have not painted a great picture of me. This Supple story ends with me losing, so don't worry about it. Yes, I hear you, but I am Yes, I will speak to. See, I'm saying a lot of me's. Yes, I talk about me because it's one of the subject matters that I know a lot more about. But the thing is this: if you asked me about Nirvana and their effect in the 1990s, and I told you stories of me being at the Red Hat the whole time, and one time putting the song in the jukebox, Nirvana song in the jukebox while I was hitting on ladies or doing whatever. Or if somehow I got to the story, which is a true story, about drinking a big bottle of Tabasco sauce, and just to impress some people, which I did. I wasn't the first, but I did. Like, that would be a story that didn't make any sense to have in the Nirvana documentary. That's the whole point. But yes, Tabasco sauce not tough to drink, but it doesn't stay in your stomach very long. There's a lot of vinegar in that, so yeah, tough.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey, Steve.
Hi.
What on earth happened to Joe Queen? I used to read his column in the Wall Street Journal every weekend.
He's a critic.
Oh, I didn't know
Mostly,
that. I didn't know that he was known. Okay, here's the Joe Queen in cut, by the way, from yesterday.
My father just said, "You're not going to watch the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. Full stop. I'm commandeering the television. You're not going to watch it." It's like,
I love how he says his father was commandeering. I'm commandeering the television.
His own television.
you're such a fucking dick. I mean, my father was an abusive alcoholic, and he beat us a lot. But not letting us watch the Beatles was worse than that. You know, you can get over beatings, but not letting us watch the Beatles.
You think that Joe Queenan practiced that line at all?
So my uncle, who was a Republican, none of us were Republicans, he sort of knew this is a big thing for these guys. So I went over to his house on that Sunday, and I think my older sister went.
That's huge. That's huge. Hopefully she went. But let's get back to Steve. I didn't know that anybody knew Joe Queenan, but then again,
You don't read the
yes.
the
You read
culture columns in the Wall Street Journal.
Read the documentary that I was part of about Pink Floyd. You'll realize that I don't read much of many newspapers.
I used to read his column in the Wall Street Journal every weekend, and he was great. And Tom, you might not remember this, but Queenan wrote a column, I think, for Vanity Fair like 30 years ago, called "Mickey Rourke for a Day," and he just decided to behave like Mickey Rourke for an entire day, and it involved him riding a Harley around shirtless and all sorts of other stuff. It was hilarious. Cool. But man, he sounds like such a pussy. Yeah. My father was an abusive alcoholic. I think it started right after he survived the Bataan Death March and, watched several of his buddies get beheaded by the Japanese. Somehow that translated into a personality disorder for him, right? Oh, man, what a jerk. Thank you.
Oh, Steve, I was hoping you'd weigh in on this. Yes. But also, you're so, like... Imagine that. Imagine like your memory of your father is my father saying, "I'm commandeering the TV.
I'm not going to let you watch the Beatles.
It's Beatles night. I'm commandeering the TV."
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey, Steve.
One more thing about the band Fish.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think I've told this story before, but in the mid to late 1980s, I was a doorman at a club called The Haunt in Ithaca, New York.
Ooh.
A really good club, an alternative music club.
Doorman as in bouncer? Is that what's going on, Steve?
Well, lo and behold, over a 3-day weekend, Fish played, and I think it was 1988. They sold the place out 3 days in a row. It was crazy. We'd never seen anything like it. Maybe Blues Traveler did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when all was said and done, every member of the staff at the bar, many of whom were musicians, all agreed it was the worst band we'd ever seen in our lives.
Wow.
They sucked.
Here we go.
In the car. Oh, sorry.
No, that's good to know. That's good. I think that they do have, or whatever, Jesus Lactopin, whatever his name is, who's the front guy. I think he's good at an instrument. I think I'm told, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not enough of a casual marijuana fan to like just get into anything somebody puts in. I understand though.
By the way, the kids and I had a good conversation because Mela, when you get off the highway there,
Yes.
on the Haverhill line, which is the local cannabis retailer, was hopping, like almost causing a traffic jam when we got off the highway tonight at like 5 o'clock on the night before. I guess a lot of people are off for Christmas. It was busy. They were like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Oh, well, everyone is buying drugs."
Yeah. You know, the last time I really enjoyed like weed was never a big weed guy. It usually left me incapacitated. But I found this other dude who was a friend of mine at the hotel where I worked, and we would just go to 7-Eleven, a different 7-Eleven actually, not in Charles Street, not with the guy who had commented and stuff, but down there was a more expansive 7-Eleven on Causeway Street across from the garden, and we would just buy a whole bunch of food, then get stoned, and then get hungry, and then just eat, and that was it. That was it for me.
Yeah,
man.
I can't help but think that. I mean, I know I'm not trying to like take anything away from you guys, weed people, but I don't think it's great for society that we've like mainstreamed this into like a totally huge thing that everybody's doing. Like, I mean, probably alcohol the same. If alcohol wasn't mainstream, we probably shouldn't mainstream it either. But like, I don't think it's awesome. I don't think it's like going to have a great effect on society. Don't love it, but you know, look forward to being proven wrong. But I feel it was a mistake.
Maybe we'll have a weed-soaked Christmas, Albie.
I will not be having a weed soak. Weed and I don't get along. We're good. I'm all set. I'm gonna have a drunk Christmas. So
there we go.
That's it. And then I'm gonna be good for like a while. I'm locking in. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you for bearing with us while we were traveling this week. We'll do a Patreon show at some point this week. Probably not tomorrow, I'm thinking, for Christmas Eve. But we will talk to you soon in any case. And we will do more shows.